In this video, I'm going to train you on how to use inner joins in SQL. The inner join, the clause right here, it's called as join, or also you can call it as inner join as well, so it doesn't matter. It joins two different tables or same table as well. If you join the same table, it's called self join. But mostly you will be joining two tables based on a condition. So the condition is right here, right? So the inner join compares each and every row from the first table with every row in the second table, and only displays corresponding records that satisfies this condition, right? So in this example, we are going to join two tables called books and book sales on bookid, right? And the idea is to display all books which got sold, right? All books which have a sales record, right? So for that, I'm also going to explain do's and don'ts. When you're at your job, there are certain ways you should not write your SQL. So I'm going to explain that as well. So the first and foremost, right? This is a valid SQL. However, I suggest not to write a SQL selecting or displaying all the records on both the tables. For example, if you use star mark, what happens is it's going to display all the columns in books table and also all the columns in the book sales table. So hence, I don't recommend using this. However, this query does work, right? So in this example, we are joining books table with book sales table. And I'm also using an alias called B for books and BS for book sales. And on followed by on, there's a join condition and followed by on, and the condition or which it needs to join both the tables and display the records. So when I execute this SQL right here, so it will display pretty much like every column in books table, which is until here, followed by every column in books table, which is followed by here. The condition, the join condition is the book ID right here. So the book ID here matches with the book ID in the sales table, right? If you observe, these IDs match with each other, right? And the sale amount of the book, right? So what we should not do at all, which means like your query is going to fail, right? It's a bad SQL, right? So one of those examples is, now that I'm trying to handpick the columns that I want to display as my output. But when you handpick the columns, if you observe here, book ID does exist in both books table and also the sales table. And if you don't use the aliases, by the way, an example for aliases is there in my previous videos. Feel free to watch it before watching the joins video. So, so if you don't use aliases, the SQL will get confused from which column, which table you need to pull book ID from, right? Hence, it will throw out an error and fail. So this is something that you should not do at your workplace, and this will cause failures in your SQL because it gets confused. It's going to throw an error, an ambiguous error, right? So what is the right way of writing your SQL? So here we go. Always use aliases in front of columns that you want to display. So you know the SQL knows from which specific table you need to pull your column information, right? So in this case, sales ID is being pulled from book sales because I'm using the alias BS, and book ID from the books, book title from the books, and the sales amount from the book sales. And the condition is the book ID, right? Pretty much the same way as the first SQL, but however, here I'm only displaying a selective set of columns instead of displaying whole set of columns from both the tables, right? So when I execute this this specific SQL, I can see now all the books that got sold, right? Which has a sale record. Sorry. So another way of using joins as well, you can use like multiple table joins within the same SQL, right? For example, I'm going to show you an example here. So I can actually join and display the author, right? Authors of this book as well, right? So on b.author ID equal to a.author ID, right? And in here, I'm going to display the author detail, right? A.author details, right? So once I put in there, now I added one more join. So now what this will display is the books that has a sale record and also has an author record, right? So which means author name or whatnot, right? So when you execute this SQL, so now you can see the book 8 is written by author 2, and then followed by the sale record, right? So it got sold at $44, right? So that's how you can interpret the outcome of this SQL. Thank you for watching and practice.